murder in Miramar solved after nearly 43 years. A woman was killed brutally inside her own home. And now police say that they know who did it and they have the evidence to prove it.
On January 22, 1980, Evelyn Marie Fisher-Bamfort, a brilliant psychiatrist nurse, was found sexually assaulted and murdered around midnight by police officers in the city of Miramar, Florida. Her death would leave authorities going around in circles for more than 40 years until DNA technology helped to reveal the identity of the killer. So, who was this killer? Was it someone related to her or a total stranger? Hi, and welcome back to Mysterious Hook, friends. Today we are looking at the oldest cold case of Evelyn Marie that is finally solved in 2022. Today's case will take us to the city of Miramar. The beautiful city is located in southern Broward County, Florida, and boasts a population of more than 120,000 people. Miramar is famous for its tropical weather and breathtaking scenery. All of these, coupled with its numerous tourist attractions, make it one of the most popular tourist destinations in the United States. Evelyn Marie Fisher was born to her parents, Charles and Ethel Fisher, on March 23, 1947, in Sardis, a small community located on the south side of Chilliwack, Canada. Evelyn attended Chilliwack Senior Secondary School, and after graduation, she proceeded to study at the Riverview School of Psychiatry Nursing. Within a few years, she completed her studies and became a fully licensed psychiatric nurse. While working at a hospital in Vancouver, Evelyn would meet the love of her life, John Bamfort. This was in 1969. John was a bartender at a bar that Evelyn and her friends visited regularly. "The first time I saw her, I fell for her, you know," John said of Evelyn. It wasn't long before John found his way into Evelyn's heart, and the two started a romantic relationship. Everyone who knew them could not help but notice that they were a match made in heaven. "She was just great to be around. I never had any regrets about being with her," John said. A few years into their relationship, John got offered a better job in Grand Cayman, and due to this, he had to move out of Vancouver. Not wanting distance to be a barrier to their relationship, Evelyn made a sacrifice. She quit her job at the hospital where she worked, packed her bags, and traveled down to Grand Cayman to be with John. After settling down in the new place, the two eventually got married and spent the next couple of months enjoying a blissful and incident-free time together. With each passing day, their love for each other kept growing stronger, and it seemed as if they both had their whole lives ahead of them. But after only 2 years in Grand Cayman, Evelyn had grown tired of the place. She just could not see herself living the rest of her life there. She eventually spoke to John concerning this and also told him about her desire to move somewhere else. John had not expected this, but he knew that if she continued living in Grand Cayman, she would be unhappy. So he gave her his full support. "She left me and she went to Miami, and 3 days later, I quit my job and followed her," John said. In Miami, the couple found accommodation at the Haven Lakes Estate Mobile Home Park, located in Miramar. They also both got jobs and began their lives afresh. Evelyn was happy and content, and so was John. In the blink of an eye, 6 years had gone by. At some point, a female friend of the couple moved in with them. It's not clear when exactly or why she started living with them, but she was welcomed with open arms. On January 22, 1980, John kissed his wife goodbye, left the house, and made for his place of work. The friend of the couple also went about her business, and Evelyn was the only one left at home. The day was just like every other day in their lives, and none of them had any idea that something terrible would soon happen. At the time, Evelyn had undergone knee surgery and had to take time off work to recover. There was really nothing to worry about, and it was expected that she would be back to full health in no time. On the night of that same day, the friend of the couple returned from her outing. It had been a long day, and she couldn't wait to be fast asleep in her bed. However, when she tried the front door, she realized that it was locked. There was nothing strange about this because she knew that either Evelyn or John had locked the door since it had already gotten dark. At that point, she had no idea if only one or both of them were home. Not wanting to disturb whoever was inside, she searched through her bag for her spare key, but soon realized that she had not taken it with her when she had left the house. It slowly dawned on her that she could spend the whole night outside if she did not attempt to let whoever was inside know she was around. She knocked on the door and waited, but got no response. It was dead silent except for the occasional honk of motor vehicles in the distance. She knocked again, this time calling out both John and Evelyn's name, but still, she got no response. Soon, she was banging on the door as loud as she could, but no one came to open it. With each passing second, she got more anxious and knew deep down that something was terribly wrong. There was no way no one inside the house would not have heard all the noise she was making. It was all so strange. She also tried other doors leading to the house, but found all of them locked as well. She soon decided that it was best to involve the police. She immediately placed an emergency call and told the dispatcher what was happening. In a matter of minutes, officers from the Miramar Police Department arrived on the scene. They proceeded to join her in knocking on the doors and even went as far as knocking on the windows of the house, but still, no sound was heard from within. After doing this for several minutes, officers decided to force entry into the house. It was the only way they could be sure no one was inside. The front door was soon broken down, and they all proceeded cautiously into the silent house. There was nobody in the living room, and nothing seemed out of place. From there, they made their way to the bedroom. The sight that awaited them there was nothing they could have been prepared for. Lying on a blood-soaked bed was Evelyn. It was like a scene straight out of a horror movie. The friend of the couple gasped at the sight before her eyes. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Evelyn was motionless, and upon closer inspection, it was discovered that she was dead. It was obvious that whoever killed her had used an object to smash in her head. Police officers immediately secured the scene and began to perform a thorough sweep of the house. Meanwhile, John had gotten off work and was on his way home. To him, nothing seemed off, and he was in a good mood. The night air smelled fresher and felt cooler than ever. From a distance, he saw the police vehicles parked in front of his house, and was surprised and at the same time alarmed by this. He knew instantly that something was very wrong. He quickened his pace, and as he got closer to the house, he noticed the police tape at the front door. At that point, fear gripped his heart. Not knowing what to expect, he made his way over to the tape and into the house. Inside, he was greeted by the unfamiliar faces of police officers. And that's when I saw what I saw, which was furniture disturbed, cushions disturbed, and then I walked back to the bedroom. Half the bed, at least, was soaked with blood, John said. Evelyn's body had already been moved to the hospital for an autopsy. The police officers then filled him in on everything that had happened, and he could hardly hold back his tears when he was told his wife was dead. He was allowed to make a cup of tea to calm his nerves, and after that, he proceeded to the station with some officers for questioning. At the station, he told detectives everything he knew, and after what seemed like a long time, he was allowed to go back home. The result of the autopsy conducted on Evelyn was out a few days later. It showed that she had been sexually assaulted and then killed by whoever assaulted her. Detectives were able to collect DNA from her body, but since the technology at the time was not yet advanced enough to run an analysis, it was stored for the future. Detectives began their investigation immediately, but there was not much for them to work with. John, on the other hand, was crying himself to sleep every night. He blamed himself for not being at home on the night that his wife was murdered. He believed that if he had been with her, she would have been alive. I had a lot of guilt at the time because I wasn't home when I should have been, John said. In February 1980, Evelyn's body was taken back to her hometown in Chilliwack, and she was buried there. After the burial, some of Evelyn's family members blamed John for her death. Others even assumed that he killed her. It was all too much for the heartbroken John to bear, and he sank into depression. The whole tragedy caused a significant change in his character, and to deal with the pain, he began drinking and taking drugs. He also eventually moved permanently to England. From that moment to today, I've been a different person altogether because it changed the way I look at life, John said. It changed how I feel about other people because I was very trusting before. Now, I'm not, he added. 2 months after the death of Evelyn, in March of 1980, detectives suddenly got a lead in the case. Here is what happened. A woman was sexually assaulted and almost killed in Volusia County. This is an area which is about a 4-hour drive from Miramar. The assailant was soon identified as a 33-year-old man by the name of Ronald Richards. Upon further investigation by the police, it was discovered that Ronald was living in Miramar. Due to this, Volusia County officials reached out to the police in Miramar to assist them in apprehending him. Ronald was eventually arrested and convicted of attempted murder and sexual assault. For the crime, he was sentenced to 50 years in jail. Miramar police, however, couldn't help but notice the similarity between Evelyn's murder and the crime Ronald committed in Volusia County. They began to suspect that he was also Evelyn's killer. It seemed very likely because he lived only 12 houses away from Evelyn and also had a weird habit of jogging at night. A closer look also revealed that he had a dark past. Back in 1975, before the Volusia County case for which he was jailed, he was convicted of manslaughter against his girlfriend. For the crime, he spent 4 years in a prison in Ohio and was released on parole in 1979. When Miramar detectives discovered all these details about Ronald, he was immediately moved to the top of the list of suspects in Evelyn's case. However, they did not have any concrete evidence to prove that he was really Evelyn's killer. And as time went by, the case went cold. The case was reviewed several times over the years, but nothing came out of these reviews. In 2021, Detective Jonathan Zeller decided to submit the DNA evidence that was taken decades ago from Evelyn's body for testing. After several months of waiting, the results of the DNA analysis finally came out, and it was what detectives had suspected all along. The result led them to no one else but Ronald. It was a major breakthrough, and detectives were elated that the case was finally solved. "It's a very good feeling," Detective Zeller said. "It's also a good feeling for everybody that was involved in this case, for the family, in particular for Evelyn's husband," he added. Detectives did not have to worry about looking for Ronald because he was locked up in a prison in Ohio for a different crime. On November 30th, 2022, he was charged with the murder of Evelyn. "We accomplished a very important thing getting this indictment," Detective Zeller said. "This is the first hurdle, and the next step is a trial, or no trial, because maybe he dies in prison. I don't worry myself with that," he added. John was also updated about the progress made in his late wife's murder case, and he was grateful for it. At almost 80, he had given up hope that the case would ever be solved. Despite the fact that Evelyn's killer was finally found, the pain her death brought remained with him. "I'm not a vindictive person, but I would certainly want to see justice for Evelyn. I don't believe in this closure thing. One never has closure. You never have closure, as you can tell," John said. "But certainly, justice for Evelyn is the most important thing." At the moment, Ronald remains locked up, but in the future, he will be transferred to Miramar to formally face the murder charge. In addition to this, detectives also believe that he is a serial killer and that he could have had more victims than they know about. The murder of Evelyn remains the oldest solved cold case in Miramar's history. Evelyn's case is no doubt a tragic one, but thanks to the relentless efforts of the authorities, her family has been able to get much-needed closure. However, the hole her brutal murder left in their hearts will forever remain. Since Ronald, who committed the crime, is currently serving a prison sentence, what kind of punishment do you think he should get for the murder of Evelyn? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.